What's up, fellas? How you doing today? Some interesting football. I know this is a basketball show, but some interesting football this weekend. Both the Oregon games were fun to watch, I thought. Dion, Coach Prime, got annihilated, which was kind of satisfying for me for whatever reason. And the Beavers dug themselves just too big of a hole. They did a pretty good job making that comeback, I thought, but just too little, too late. And then yesterday, Colton, your boys, the former San Diego Chargers, finally got a dub. And right now, the Rams are up 3-0 on the Bengals. Let's go, Rams. No one's a Rams fan except for me and my family, but we're going to take it.
Yeah, it's always fun when football season's going. Everybody knows the best time of year is when it's football season and basketball season. Then you just got your fair pick of whatever sport you want to watch. Sports for me to watch, so
we're getting there pretty quick.
Yeah, right around the corner.
I'm frozen.
Media Day is a week from today.
What just happened? Was I frozen?
You froze for a sec. You're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Glad to be back.
Media Day is a week from today, guys. It's the final countdown of the Dame trade time, in my opinion. I think that Dame will be traded this week. If he's not, he might be on the roster till the trade deadline.
I think you might be right about that. I think that if a deal's going to get done, I think it's going to be pretty soon. There's a lot of rumors floating around, but if it doesn't get done in the next couple of weeks, then I don't think that the Blazers really have the pieces. Must not be there to get a deal done, and so it's most likely that they're just going to wait it out.
There's going to be a lot of different situation around the trade deadline. There's going to be teams that might be willing to go all in and take a gamble on Dame that aren't right now. And obviously the market seemingly is kind of heating up, but it's this usual suspects. Although we got some Mark updates today. That's the whole reason for this video. Mark Spears is putting it out there. Well, we got Mark Stein saying that it seems like the Raptors are ahead of the pack as far as, the leaders in the clubhouse. And Mark Spears is corroborating, saying, Miami has kind of faded away. They're not even getting talked to. Joe's probably come out with your whole roster if you want Dame. And then Chicago, who had a little bit of interest, seems to be waning. Sounds like Toronto is a real threat to trade for Dame. And so I constructed 3 trades. I want you guys to go over them with me. Everybody watching this, go ahead and leave your comments down below what you think of these trades. Some of them are just kind of thrown together to see what sticks. It might not look exactly like that, but this is what I think could happen with a 2-team trade, a 3-team trade, or 4-team trade. So,
pull it up.
Pulling it up. Okay, so
pull it up, Jamie.
First one we got. This is the simple, straightforward 2-team trade. It sounds like the Raptors, which I kind of was worried about this when we heard about rumors before. The Raptors do not want to trade Scotty Barnes. I get why. Everybody gets why. He was Rookie of the Year 2 seasons ago. Masai definitely values his players very highly. It's hard to pry players away from him. This trade actually, it looks pretty basic on the front side of things, but it does give the Blazers some high upside prospects, as well as OG, who we've talked about in the past. He's kind of like a win now player, but he can also grow with the young core. He's 6 years old, I believe. He's coming up with a player option. So I think if they were going to trade for OG like this, they would need to make sure that OG is going to either extend or they had a follow-up trade for him. And then you go down the line of the other pieces here. We got Boucher, Duck legend, right? Otto Porter, I think he's just there more for salary matching. He'd probably be waived because we don't have that many roster spots. Grady Dick, Grady Dick was singled out by Mark Spears as somebody the Blazers had a lot of interest in a Dame deal. And while Grady Dick, meme him all you want, he was a lottery pick this season. So he was the 13th pick, I believe, and he's got a lot of talent. He's a great shooter. He can handle off the quick side pick and roll. Obviously not a great defender from what we've heard, or else he would have been a higher pick, but he's a 6'8" forward, and that's what the Blazers need. He would be a great fit next to Scoot, in my opinion, because he can spread the floor. Finally, we got Precious Achiuwa. I can't say his name apparently, but he's a young big. He's kind of an undersized big, but he's high energy. He's shown he can shoot. He's an intriguing young player as well. And then Raptors get Dame, pretty self-explanatory. Raptors lineup would be pretty stacked. They'd have Dame, Gary Trent Jr., Barnes, Siakam, and Pirtle, and then they'd still have some, Dennis Schroeder off the bench. What do you guys think?
I mean, what I will say is that I'm really glad that we're outside of Miami or bust land, at least in the media narrative. I don't know, there's always a chance that Pat Riley's still going to do some dark magic and find a way to get it his way, but it really seems like Joe's not even really taking Miami's phone calls right now. And trades like this are a lot more interesting than the best trades that we were able to construct using Miami pieces. So, yeah, I mean, being able to get OG and Boucher, the Trebuchet, that's my nickname for him. But, if we can get guys like that to slot in along with our young guards, I mean, obviously we have an abundance of guards and we need some size. And Grady Dick is an interesting piece. I mean, he would definitely be memed into oblivion, as soon as he gets traded, if he's getting meaningful minutes, but that's all right. We can deal with that. It's we could use the merch sales, I guess.
Why would he be memed? Could you guys explain to me why he would be memed?
Think of a Nasir Little and Grady Dick lineup. Just saying. That's a good lineup.
That's
bench.
That's a 2-man combo right there.
Little Dick riding the pine.
Yep. What do you think of the I forgot to say picks. I didn't include picks. Can throw some in there as needed. So maybe a first or two added onto this. What do you guys think? Or what do you think, Kirby?
Yeah, I think it solves the position issue that the Blazers have had for a long time, or like the amount of size forwards and defense that it gives the Blazers, along with shooting from my boy Grady Dick. Don't know why he would be memed. You guys are gonna have to explain that one a little bit more to me, but I like the trade. Also, I'm not gonna pretend like I came up with this. I just saw this on ESPN. They mentioned that a few years back they pulled the trigger for an all-star guy who was known to be wanting to go to a certain location.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard. And all in all, it probably worked out for them. I think they're probably happy with that move. They did lose him after a year, but they got a championship in that year. So maybe they would be the team to take a chance on Lillard, even if he doesn't necessarily want to go there.
Yeah, and again, if we decide to go a different way, maybe OG isn't going to extend or whatever, OG still has value, as we've heard in previous rumblings to dealing with Raptor in the past. You could flip him for picks or kind of younger assets if you're just trying to go all young, or he could fit with this current roster. Obviously, it's not like the young stud blue chip prospect that we want out of a Dame trade, but this is probably something more realistic. And I agree with you guys. It's better than like the Miami bottom of the barrel stuff, and especially if the Miami is trying to lowball the Blazers. Let's look at the next trade. It starts to get a little bit more interesting, a little bit more connected with other rumors here.
We get Nurk off the books. Yeah,
yes,
there it is.
We do get Nurk off the books. This right off the bat, this trade says failed, obviously, but it can be completed as a trade October 4th. So a couple weeks, obviously. I think they can agree to the terms of the deal and then just complete it later. So breakdown. We've talked about DeAndre Ayton on this pod before, And then, we talked about DeAndre Ayton weeks ago, kind of a rumor that we were kind of one of the few people to talk about it. And then we got more credible rumors that DeAndre Ayton might be a part of this whole trade coming to the Blazers. It was pretty interesting. It hasn't happened yet, obviously, but John, I'm going to butcher his name. I'm going to call him Gambo. John Gambadoro is probably how you pronounce it. He's a Sun. He's connected with the Suns. He talked about the Beal trade before it happened. He talked about the Durant trade before it happened. Pretty much to a T, he was calling it. He's basically said that it wouldn't just be a Nurkic for an Ayton swap, but that kind of a move was on the table for the Suns, and it's because they're up above that second cap apron. So Ayton would be coming to the Blazers in this deal. OG as well. So that's kind of like a wow, pie in the sky, right? But when you go on down the line, it'll kind of make sense why. Thaddeus Young, he's just thrown in there for salary. He's not going to be on there playing big minutes for the Blazers. And then we got Grady Dick again. We've already went over Grady Dick. Don't need to dive into it too much deeper. If this was the return, you wouldn't even need really a lot of picks here. You think about the Blazers lineup, it would look great. You got Scoot, Shaden, Simons, OG, Grant, Ayton. You got Grady Dick as well. Like, that's pretty solid. And you're thinking this is probably too much. It might be coming back to the Blazers, but it looks pretty interesting in my opinion. Raptors get Dame, of course, and then Eric Gordon as well. So they add some more shooting to go along with the loss of Gary Trent Jr. He kind of fulfills that void and helps them out on that side. The Suns, it's widely rumored that they want to save salary while converting their guys into more either tradable assets or help with their salary load. They pick up a shooter in Gary Trent. Blazer fans are familiar with Gary Trent. He's expiring in 1 year too. So if it doesn't work out, he comes off the books. Could give them some salary relief that they need. If it does work out, he's another rotation player and a shooter defender. I'm sure that he could get minutes there. Then they got Nurkic. They're saving money with Nurkic. Again, picks can come and go in this as you would want. The Blazers could send some of their 5 second-round picks that they got for Gary Trent Jr. if they need to, to the Suns. If the Suns don't feel like they're getting enough, they could get 3 second-round picks. The Blazers could get a first-round pick or 2, depending on what happens. But they probably wouldn't get a lot of picks with this deal. What do you guys think?
What were the 5 second-round picks?
The Blazers got 5 second-round picks when they traded GP2. I think I called him Gary Trent.
But, okay.
Yeah, Gary Payton, not Gary Trent.
Okay. This trade is awesome. Did you get this idea from somewhere, or did you just come up with this yourself?
No, I came up with it.
This is genius. A well put together trade. I think all 3 teams really benefit from this one. The only issue with it that I can see, I think the Suns are probably going to want a little bit more back for 8.
Yeah,
probably. So, but maybe they would be satisfied with a few picks since they're so, have nothing in that realm. So that it does make sense. Or maybe another young guy here that, one of the Blazers' young guys, or maybe someone else could kind of fit into that to give the Suns a little bit more, like you said, more tradable assets, and while keeping the money low, not adding a ton to their books or anything. But yeah, I think it makes sense for all 3 teams. I think well done putting this one together. I like it, Colton.
Yep, this one's a big winner for me. Definitely the Blazers. I think this is the best return that I've seen them rumored to have. We're making rumors now, for Dame. So yeah, this is definitely a trade that I would do. I think Kirby's right that the Suns are maybe the one, giving up DeAndre and Eric Gordon. They might want a little bit more, but I mean, Gary Trent Jr. is no slouch. And if they're trying to save money, Nurkic is a value center for sure. And like we've talked about on this podcast before, there are not going to be enough possessions to go around for a center to have the ball in his hand very much. The center is going to be probably mostly a defensive anchor and, maybe do some dribble handoff type stuff.
Yeah, screen setter center, exactly.
Yeah, dribble handoffs, setting screens.
Gary Trent Jr. is like the perfect player to go to the Suns. 3-and-D sort of guy that they could bring off the bench with no issues, no drama or anything like that. He seems like a perfect fit for Phoenix. I don't really understand Nurkic that much. I mean, I get that there's been a lot of rumors about the Suns making him, trying to get him or giving up Ayton for Nurkic. It kind of seems to me like they might be overvaluing him a little bit. As fans of the Blazers watching him play over the last few years, he's, if they're planning on making a deep playoff run, the likelihood that Nurkic will be available during that playoff run is slim to none from past experience. But maybe he'll, maybe they'll get lucky with them. Maybe he will be the piece that they need. Good passer in that spot, can maybe space the floor and dish the ball. Some of those guys, they obviously need a guy that can pass the ball and move it around a little bit. None of the other guys are really known for that, so maybe he would fit nicely with that team, and maybe they'd get lucky and get him healthy for at the right time.
Yeah,
If you look, honestly, go ahead, Riley.
I was just gonna say, other than the health concern, I actually think he might be a really good fit for them. Thinking about, obviously, I think Blazer fans have gotten, I don't know, we got a little bit burnt out on the injury problems and the kind of up and down performance. And now the fact that he's Dame's buddy, I mean, it's just kind of time for him to go. But thinking about what we've seen him do over the last few years, I mean, he really can, from the top of the paint, he can orchestrate some stuff. And he's a good passer. So on a team that has as many shooters as they're going to have and as many scorers as they're going to have, they need someone who is okay just really kind of moving the ball and being a big body to get in the way. And that's Nurkic, if nothing else.
Yeah, I actually think, we've seen Nurkic's injuries in the past. I think his injury problems are getting to the point where they're overblown. If you look at the last couple seasons, a lot of his games missed were because we were the tank Blazers. People are using that against Dame too. They're saying, oh, he's had injuries the last couple of years. Well, he did have one legitimate injury, but this last season, he could have played a lot more games at the end of the season, all of them, if we weren't tanking, guaranteed. He had some minor injury that was made up, right? So, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's close, and there might be small minor pieces sent one way or the other, but I like the look of this trade as well. It does feel like the Blazers are getting the best out of this, but they're also giving up the best asset or the best player. They're giving up a superstar, Damian Lillard. And the Suns are the problem with the Suns with Ayton, they are running up into the second apron. And with the new CBA, that causes all kinds of issues if you're in the over the second apron for multiple years. So I think that they're trying to, like you guys said, find a good fit for the roster, a starting center that can be a playmaker, while also lowering their salary obligations on one player. Nurkic's contract is a lot cheaper. Gary Trent comes off the books. And also, if he fits and everything works, he helps them win. So I think it's kind of fair all around. Glad you guys agree.
You are you are right that I will concede or at least rethink my position about the injury concern. You are right. The last couple of years, it hasn't necessarily been his fault that he hasn't played the games. And he's 29 years old. Maybe he's had a few years and maybe some of that time off will help him get over these injuries. It's funny. I'm on his Twitter right now looking through, and he posted a picture like 10 days ago, 11 days ago with him and Scoot in practice jerseys. So I don't know if that doesn't mean anything, but it is just funny to see him hanging out with the new guy.
Yeah. And I mean, those rumors were just heating up like last week with the Suns reporter talking about it. And he is well connected. He is plugged in. We heard from dropping dimes in the past, but this guy's connected and a well-renowned source with Phoenix News specifically. So it's interesting. And it sounded like it was really close, and it still sounds like that could be there, the Ayton side of things. So we're going to keep talking about Ayton with my last trade. This one's the most complex trade of them all. It might be the probably least likely to happen, but We'll see. Let me explain it.
If it includes Ben Simmons, I riot.
No Ben Simmons. We do get Gary Trent Jr. back, which he didn't end on so great terms, but messing with the salaries, it was kind of tough to get to this point. So the Blazers are getting Ayton, Gary Trent back. That's kind of going to be awkward, but Gary Trent could be flipped in another deal. He's an expiring contract. We get the walking duck, Chris Boucher. Jarris Walker. So Jarris Walker was a player we talked about going into the draft as being somebody the Blazers could target. He's that big forward that the Blazers, were looking for. And then Grady Dick as well. Of course, the Grady Dick train rolls through the station no matter what. We do pick up some extra salary, but like I said, Gary Trent's expiring if that's the route we want to go. Boucher would come off the books after next season. The Suns. So the Suns get some playmaking. The Suns have no point guards on their roster. The Pacers, they have Halliburton. They have Nebhard. I believe they drafted a point guard this year. So one of those guards doesn't fit. And enter TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell is a great guard to add to your rotation when you don't have playmaking. Going along with Nurkic, Otto Porter Jr. is that wing that they can either keep or waive, depending on kind of what they're looking for. But the Suns, in this case, pick up a playmaker. They could pick up two playmakers if you count Nurkic. The Raptors, they lose Gary Trent Jr. and they lose, Boucher, and they get and OG, of course, but they get Dame and Buddy Hield. So then their lineup looks like Dame, Buddy Hield, Barnes, Siakam, Pirtle, and they're stacked at every position. They got shooting, they got defense, they got size, they got playmaking. The Raptors, I don't think should have any problem with this. They're taking on a little bit more salary, but that's on their end. And then in this case, the Pacers get OG. Pacers have in the past reportedly been very interested in OG. And in this case, Jarris Walker is a tough, steep piece to lose for sure. He was just drafted in the lottery. But if you pair OG with Halliburton, Mathurin, Miles Turner, their lineup starts filling out like that too. So that's kind of my thought process on this. Obviously, picks can come and go on everything as well, just like with my other trades. What do you guys think?
Well done on this one too. Obviously, the Blazers need to hire you, man, because they're not getting shit done. You'd be able to figure it out.
It's probably not this easy. This is probably the least likely one to happen, but
yeah, it makes more sense to me. It makes more sense for the Suns. Probably just as much sense for the Raptors, if not more. It still makes sense for the Blazers. It's not as good as the last trade for them, I don't think. Maybe. I guess I wasn't really considering Walker. He's a nice piece to add, but I still would probably lean towards the other one. I don't know. I'm actually rethinking that now that I'm thinking about getting two rookies like that. That's pretty cool. For the Pacers, I think that's the hardest pill to swallow. They're giving up TJ, Hield, and Jarris Walker for OG. That's kind of a steep price to pay for him. I get the idea that, he's a good player and he might be a good running mate with Halliburton, but I feel like they're giving up a lot to get him. As far as everything else considered, though, I think it's a good trade. I think, the Blazers would be lucky to get this deal. They're getting a lot in this. I feel like the Suns make out pretty well. Raptors, obviously, I think are contenders if they pull off this trade. I'm not sure about the Pacers, though.
Yeah, one thing I really like about this trade is that I think we get enough pieces that have a little bit more size that if one or more of them really pan out, like if Jarris Walker is like ready to go pretty quickly, then maybe we could keep Grant at the 3. I think that we at least want to have the option to play Grant at the 3 as much as possible this year. It seems like all of our scenarios are they keep pushing him into that 4 position, where I just don't think he's really well suited. And so, having both Boucher and Walker to potentially play more of that power forward position, or, at least kind of trade off with Grant, I like that a lot. But yeah, I still think it would be really nice to have OG. Just from a talent perspective, he's going to bring a different level of scoring than really any of these guys, I think. It would be interesting to bring back Gary Trent. I don't know how all sides would feel about that at this point. But from the Blazers' perspective, I think both this one and the last one make a lot of sense. It gives us some options, gives us some moving pieces so that we can put together a really good team, and gives us good value back for Dame. And
to be fair, with Gary Trent, didn't O'Shea ship him out? So it's like, and it's new people in there. It's a business. I think you would get over it pretty quickly. But sorry, continue.
He wasn't happy here though, and also there's a lot of guards, so I think he would be flipped again. He's an expiring, or like I said, he could help a contender. He had to come in with salary, it seemed, so that's why he's in there, which is funny.
Looking at both this trade and the last trade, just to keep talking about the Blazers for another minute, we still have too many guards, I think. I mean, even if you forget about Gary Trent, we're still stuck with that Scoot, Shaedon, and Anthony trio. And you can't start all 3 of them and then have, that automatically pushes Grant to the 4. And I don't know. I think you end up playing really small then, which is something that I would love to get away from. But I do think this trade makes pretty good sense for the Suns, if based on kind of what we know their goals to be. I think it puts the Raptors in contention. And I don't know, the Pacers have kind of been floundering a little bit. They might just be ready to kind of mix it up. So maybe OG could be a good fit there. I like it. I'd do it.
It all comes down to the Pacers on this one. I agree with you guys, because I think really looking at it, like, the Raptors should be happy with it. I think that the Suns are getting what they need. The Blazers are getting a lot here. Jarris Walker would be a big pull, and it is tough. I don't think TJ McConnell is like a make or break thing for them at all. I don't think that, the Buddy Hield has been wanting out. They're not really getting along with the contract stuff. And I know that they've loved OG. So will they be willing to give up their pretty valuable piece in Jarris Walker for an equally valuable piece, or, depending on how they value their pieces, in OG? I just think OG fits their roster so well with Halliburton and, Miles Turner, like I said. So I think it's tough on this one, because the Blazers do get a lot of young prospects back on this one. And picks could go, like I said, 5 second rounders. I don't care if the Blazers lose those, because they're kind of extra. If the Pacers need some seconds, maybe the Raptors could throw in Precious Achiuwa to the Pacers as well. Maybe that helps them grease the wheels a little bit. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on this Raptors coming into play. These are all 3 obviously Raptor focused on Dame. This kind of gives you a look at when it's not the Heat, you can kind of grease some wheels a little bit and hope you can kind of make a play. I do think if it has to be the Heat, this could be all kind of, you said it earlier, Kirby. I'll let you say it and give you the credit. This could all be, what could all this be?
Oh, what did I say? Yeah,
posturing.
Posturing.
This could all be posturing. It could be the Heat.
I am worried that that's what they're doing right now. That teams are basically, they're accepting the calls, they're seeing what'll work, and they're trying to make the Heat sweat a little bit, so that instead of Hero, Lowry, and whoever else, you get Hero, Lowry, and Jovic or whatever, just one extra little piece from the Heat. I think it's going to take some balls from one of these other teams to pull the trigger and go for him. I do think, like I mentioned before, though, I think that if any team has a likelihood of doing that and has done it before, it's the Raptors. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I think that if the Blazers can manage to extract as close to maximum value from the Heat as possible, and then on the side, they're able to send pieces and Nurkic for Ayton, I think it could be more less of a tough pill to swallow. But I would rather work with the Raptors and maybe get, even if, okay, so hear me out. Even if OG is not included, yes, the value takes a hit here. But I think Grady Dick is a far better prospect than, JJJ or Jovic from Miami. They have the similar number of picks. They have Precious Achua. They have Christian Koloko, which I didn't even put in any of these trades. But he's a backup center prospect, and he's got potential as well. So I think that the Raptors pieces fit what the Blazers are looking for a little bit better, even if OG is not included. So I hope that the Raptors are involved. I hope every team that's involved with this, the better. And we'll see if it happens this week. But if not, we're in for another long ride. And rumors are Dame will show up to training camp and media day. Media day will be very interesting if Damian Lillard is on the roster. Let me just put it that way. It's going to be must see if he does attend media day. We all have to tune into that. We should live stream Dame's interview because that will be fantastically entertaining.
What day did you say it is? Media day?
A week from today. That's in my opinion the deadline for all this for now.
It will be just unbelievably cringy if we have to watch him parade around in multiple Blazers uniforms, taking all the promo shots, doing the interviews. I can't even imagine going through that as a Blazer fan. It just sucks so much in so many ways. As we've talked about many times, we've got lots of videos about this. But, there just keeps being these little nuggets out there. Like he said something in an interview last week, I think, saying, in a perfect world, I'd be a Blazer for life. And it's just stop talking, man. Stop saying this stuff. You're only making it worse. You're not going to be a Blazer for life. You demanded a trade out. So it's over and it's time to move on. So I hope one of these trades gets done before media day because I don't want to see it.
Yeah,
I hope it's one of your trades.
Thanks.
Yeah, please give us that. I've been saying it for a while now. If it's just time to move on. If we have to trade him, if the Blazers have to trade him to Miami, so be it. I think I would rather one of these trades happen, but ESPN saying Raptors current front runners for Lillard. So it's not just us saying it. There's a lot of rumors out there right now.
Yeah.
Only 2 GMs have said that they expect him out of Portland by media day and to the Raptors.
Wow.
And the rumored Heat package that was put in the Mark Spears article was Tyler Hero. It said including Tyler Hero and 2 first-round picks.
It's not going to get it done,
Not
man.
even the young guys. Not even the young guys were rumored to be in that package. So extract all the value you can.
They really are lowballing, like you said. I think there's another element to this too of from my perspective that would be a lot better if you went to the Raptors, that the Heat wouldn't just get what they wanted. Heat fans, Heat management, they don't just get what they want. And also to some degree too, Dame doesn't just get what he wants. I mean, I think that the Raptors would be a great situation for him. Like you pointed out in the roster, I think he's playing with, probably the best players he's ever played with in his career in that situation. And they're, I think, legit championship contenders if they pull off that move and have the roster that you constructed for him.
Well, let us know down below. Obviously, some of these are hard. It looks like the Blazers are getting a lot, but it's Damian Lillard. So let us know what you think. Give some trade ideas that we didn't talk about down there. Hopefully this is the last video where we cover a Dame potential trade. In the next video, we'll be talking about the Dame trade and the roster and the season. And that's it.
Please. Bye.
Bye.